morning. Today I'm going to be teaching you to make chocolate chip cookies. First thing we want to do is to make sure that we have all of our ingredients ready to go. So right now we're starting with a cup full of sugar, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 2 eggs, and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. You're also going to need 2 sticks of butter, about a cup worth of chocolate chips, a teaspoon of both salt and baking soda, and 3½ cups of flour. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mix our eggs, our sugar, and our vanilla together. And we're going to mix that on low. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the butter. All right. And we're going to turn that back on and mix that up a little bit more. And the salt and the baking soda is in a separate dish, but I'm going to go ahead and add it to the flour, and I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. This is why it's important to keep your hands clean, because I don't like to use utensils a lot, so I like to do it old-fashioned. So we're going to go ahead and put this back on low. And what I like to do is I'll start by pouring just a little bit in. And it does get messy. I don't mind. I just clean it up afterwards. And we're going to continue to mix all of the ingredients until it's all mixed together. Now you shouldn't really add the flour this fast. I'm doing it because I normally have a helper that adds the flour for me while I'm making them. And I use a spatula to get all the flour off of the side of the mixing bowl. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take this off, and that worked out good. That cleaned off my whisks. And then what I do from here is I typically keep my flour on hand next to me because, like I said, I don't like to use utensils. And when you're cooking with the cookie dough, they can stick to your hand if you don't have flour on your hand to keep it off. Now I'm going to add chocolate chips. And then I like to hand mix these, and I don't like to use the mixer because I don't want to break up the chocolate chips. And you can really add anything else that you want to add to this to make it work. My family like just plain old chocolate chip cookies, so that's what I stick to. And our cookie dough is done getting nice and cold. So now what we're going to do is we're going to roll our balls, put them on our cookie sheets, and go ahead and get those in the oven. So once again, I like to use my flour on my hands, and that just keeps the cookie dough from sticking to my fingers. That way we get to use the most amount of our cookie dough. All right, and I do this a couple times while I'm rolling the dough because the flour does come off onto the dough. I personally do not like rolling my dough. I just like to drop it. So I will pull off what I think should be enough. And like I said, this makes between about 35 and 42 cookies, depending on how big of a ball you make. And put these in our oven. I usually try to put them on the top rack next to each other. And those are going to go in for about 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to put it right at 11, and we'll start there. All right, so those are cooking, and then when they get done, we will be back. All right, now that your cookies are done baking, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to transfer them to parchment paper. And this is where you're going to allow them to cool until they are ready to be eaten or put in a cookie jar or brought to your local school bake sale. And then once you get these off of the cookie sheet, you don't even have to switch out the parchment paper on your cookie sheet. You can go ahead and use that for your next round of cookies. And then that way you're not wasting parchment paper. And then once you're all done and they're nice and cool, you will have beautiful chocolate chip cookies. There you have it.